25 women in Britain have given birth in the past 5 years whilst still being virgins. And not immaculate conceptions, but this is IVF. Now, all of the women are straight. Some didn't want to be reliant on a man. Others wanted to save themselves for a special relationship. So, a baby without having sex. What do you think, Jane?
Oh, yes. Well, it's not... We should point out it's not available on the NHS because obviously on the NHS you have to have proved that you've tried every which way to try and get pregnant. Yes, which obviously, if you're a virgin, you haven't. So they're paying. My concern when I really read into this, actually, some of the women, they said, are in relationships, but they have a thing about not wanting to have sex and intimacy, and I kind of think, what responsibility are these private clinics taking? You know, they say that they have a chat with them beforehand about their reasons, but what responsibility are they taking for the welfare of that child going forward? Because if the mother is, say, maybe too emotionally immature to have a relationship, just say that's one of the examples, how is she going to react? How is she going to bring up that child?
I was going to say, and have that conversation.
You know, if you haven't had that close relationship, then... or if you have a problem, issues with intimacy or does that mean you're going to have issues of intimacy with your own child, etc. So I would like to sort of... I would hesitate to say it shouldn't be allowed, because I think everyone, you know, has a right to explore whatever it is that they want to do. But I would actually say I think that a strict policy needs to be in place in the same way that there is in the NHS. They really rigorously look at why you want to have a child and whether you're set up to cope. This smacks a bit of, I can't, you know, I don't want to have a relationship with an adult and I don't really want to get a dog, so I'm going to get a child.
Yeah, does it smack of that, June? Is it that society we just say, you know, you just think it's your right to have everything you want, so therefore I'll just do that. I don't need a man, I'll just have a baby.
It just makes no sense to me. I think it's like, you know, getting the calories without eating the chocolate cake. I mean... without the fun bit, you know, whether you believe in a god or not, I mean, you know, whoever created this universe knew, let's make that bit fun, because, you know, the childbirth isn't. So I don't know why. It makes no sense to me.
Also, why would you want that? You know, if that's the first thing in that area that's happening, why would you want it to be? Was if they have a kind of, you know, something scary about having sex, you're not going to want to push a bowling ball out.
No. And you're definitely not going to want to have sex after that, if that's your first experience.
Trust you to think of that. The thing is, because we now have the technology, the science, IVF, you know, it's like I always say about the internet, you can't put the genie back in the bottle. We've let it out and it's there. So, you know, years ago, childless couples, very sadly, you know, it just didn't happen. But now you can. And when I was trying to get pregnant, you know, and I was in my 40s, I went through a time when I thought this might not happen. You know, thinking, do we go down the IVF route? We did talk about adoption. We probably would have been happy to adopt. So all these options are there. Surely, is this just not another option?
No, it's madness.
You know, because I just think it's society has changed. You know, the family, as people saw it,
well, no, I think
society,
we've become selfish. We want it, and we think we have a right to have it when we want it. And if we have to pay for it, so be it. But I agree with Jane's point as well, that I'm not saying they won't make fantastic parents, but how do you have that conversation, like we were talking about, with body image and relationships and, you know, explaining to your kids about the facts of life and all that. How do you have that when you haven't experienced it?
If you think about the example, so let's say, for example, that somebody was badly abused as a child and they have issues around that. I get it 100%, and why should they not go through the joy of motherhood because of that? But what I would say is that problem being addressed as well as, you know, rather than just being a sort of a fix-it, you're kind of getting round the problem, that maybe they should be having serious counselling to be able to get over that issue. But let's just say, for example, this just popped into my head, actually. Let's say there's a soldier who has been blown up in Iraq or Afghanistan, quite a few of them have had issues afterwards from the waist down, and they have a relationship with a girl who hasn't had a relationship before, and they're in a relationship, so she's a virgin, but they can't conceive a child or have sex.
Yes.
Well,
Then I
it's
would
yet
go
another scenario.
100% they've
It's
given.
another scenario, isn't it?
The
And I said we
opportunity.
don't know the individual stories. I'd never heard of it before, actually.
Neither
So there you
have I.
go. That's
Yeah.
virgin births. I'm
Well,
sure
I've
that's
had
something.
3
we'll-
immaculate conceptions.
You have.
You know, I find it difficult even today. I can feel my anxiety rising because I'm actually talking about it. But one of the reasons I want to is because I had a very public one here moments before going on air, and it ended up that luckily lovely Ruth was doing this morning. She raced across and took over, and that was because my marriage had broke down just a few weeks before.